we are live. At least we should be. First time live on multiple platforms all at once. Hope all is good. I'm going to quickly check it out if it's all good on YouTube as well. Streaming on a few platforms, Kick, YouTube, and X this time. Why? I don't know. I felt like I probably could do multiple, and why not? Right? So if one goes down, you always have the other. It's just to basically secure myself a little bit better. Anyway, so what's up, everybody? See, a couple of people are already hopping in. There we go. Hop in, hop in. Yup. Let me quickly see if all is good. Is the title? The title is the same everywhere. All right, we're schmoving. There we go. We're schmoving. I'm live, brother. All right. So, market's an interesting spot, right? I think you've all been watching it pretty closely, but still, regardless, market is in a very, very interesting spot regardless. I mean, we saw a massive all-time high for XRP just as late as yesterday, I guess. And just now we had ourselves a slightly lower close, and many have been asking, is this a bad thing? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I personally do not believe that this is something bad at all. Matter of fact, no. I feel as if this is something pretty freaking good. But we'll take a look at that and a lot more throughout today's video. So again, if you're wondering what I'm talking about the fact that we had ourselves a juicy 348 close just 2 days ago, I guess. Just last night, we had ourselves a negative close, and today we are slowly but surely building ourselves back up. With today being a nice coin for a few memes. I mean, Pengu and Dogecoin are up, but for the most part, I'm going to say today has been a little bit of a nothing burger. And that's why many people have been asking me, is this still a moment where we now can see a massive rally forming from here? Or is this the moment where we just give up? Rally's over. We're not excited no more. This is where we sell. This is where we stop with everything. So today I'll be giving my 2 cents on that. Also, I have yet to find a good way to get the chat in here. So I'm gonna have to find a little way to do that in just a second. Let me quickly see if I can do that. Just get again. This is the first time I'm streaming on more than one platform. So. It's also the first time I've ever streamed on X. It's the first time ever doing a few of those things. So it could be that not everything is perfect all at once. But you know, sometimes you gotta try things out. Otherwise, how do you get there, right? So if you're wondering why is he not talking too much, I'm just quickly trying to also find how to do these things. There we go. Let's try to get this in. And yeah, that is not working. I try to get the chat in. It's supposed to work like this, but maybe it's just transparent. Yeah, that's not working thus yet. But I'll figure it out for the next stream how to get the chat box in. Oh, there we go. We got ourselves a little chat. Right there. The chat is ready to display messages. All right, so now I just need to figure out the color and stuff, right? But that's a concern for a bit later. At least we have ourselves something. And we can work with this. How's everybody doing? We're live on X right here, and then we are live on YouTube right here. It's also strange to not have a dashboard the way. We only have 75 people in, so I think it's because we're not giving out a notification. We've got about 200 people on Twitter. The first question I see just now is, what are your thoughts on Pump? So the funny thing is, a lot of people have been asking about the Pump Fund situation. Like, is Pump Fund a buy? Is it a sell? In my own personal humble opinion, I think Pump Fund is one of the funniest buys we've ever had, right? It's like the situation with Pump Fund is it's so extremely hyped. They've got so extremely much money, yet for some reason, it is not doing anything. Like the price is just slowly but surely coming down. Everybody's panicking. But theoretically speaking, all they gotta do is just announce one juicy airdrop. And all those doubts, all that sadness is just forgotten about and things go absolutely insane. It's my personal perspective on this. And all we need is to just wait slightly longer and it will have a monstrous rally because a lot of the retail is going to hop on that one. Now the thing is, and we can argue on this for a long time, I am personally quite a big advocate of the idea that it's not necessarily wise to buy things like Pump as people who... Let me rephrase it differently. I think a lot of people who are new to crypto will be aping into coins like Pump Fun. But it's basically going to be a retail fueled thing where people are mostly buying it for short-term gains. But there's the possibility that it does the hyperliquid route, where basically it's got a lot of revenue and people are actually buying it because relative to all the money they've got in their reserves, relative to all the buybacks, it's quite undervalued. I don't necessarily like that strategy. I'm not, in bull markets like this, the biggest fan of buying things that are essentially undervalued or should actually be at a higher valuation. I mean, right now it's the hype for it with all these reserve metas where all these guys are, buying with their reserves, they're buying Bitcoin, they're becoming treasury companies. I don't know. I don't feel like it's the best way to go about it for the longer term, but it could work out. It could be a play that ends up being one of the best decisions of our lifetimes, right? To basically get into a pump fund, hope that it's going to pull a hyperliquid and basically end up with, let's just quickly see for fun, right? So as it currently stands, how much is Pump Fund at? We can probably see the worst performers. Is Pump one of them? Yeah, so Pump right now is about 10% above the ICO price at 1.5 billion. Well, if they indeed do have about $2 billion in their reserves, a $2 billion market cap is not that much because if they're going to be consistently buying that dip, keeping it up with the buying, it is something perhaps worth DCAing into. But the question is also, how loyal will they be to their coin? I mean, if they're making enough money from their platform anyway, how much will they respect the buybacks? They've committed 25%. Will that indeed be huge? Will it not be? I mean, right now there's not really a big meme coin wave at all. Oh, I'm not showing you guys the screen. My bad. I'd rather say right now there's not really a big meme coin wave at all. So by that angle, there's also not that much in revenues. But if the market gets dummy crazy, which is what I basically was saying at the start, that some memes are starting to pick back up. If Dogecoin all of a sudden goes nuts, if Pengu all of a sudden starts to go nuts, a lot of memes all of a sudden start picking back up the pace. It is a pretty good question of, hey, will we also see some bigger runners on Solana, some bigger memes all of a sudden crazy? And that might also then translate over, I'm just putting something up there, in also way more revenue for Pump, and then also that transferring over into way more buybacks and Pump actually doing well. Maybe Pump Fund as a coin could be an indicator of Pump Fund's success, rather than where it should be priced at based on their reserves. And then again, right now they're not doing too well versus Bonk Fund, but then again they're up like 8% over the hour, it seems right here. Let's quickly take a look at that. Yeah, it seems they're 8% up over the hour, and maybe they're just going to be defending their ICO price of 4 cents by buying like crazy over at that level. I am staying away personally. I'm not the biggest fan of coins like that, but there's a lot of my friends who are aping in like crazy every single time it gets towards, I guess, below ICO or close to ICO, hoping that indeed Pump is going to be announcing something that's going to basically break records. If they really want to try become the streamer platform, especially the crypto streamer platform, there is a big market for it, especially with all the billions of dollars that they've got. So there's a possibility there. There's a possibility there for it to work out. Regardless, up north says, cheers from Canada. Juicy Canada. Thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Today, very quiet in the chat, and I think it's because we've already done a massively long stream today, right? We were already there for 4 hours, and the price is not breaking out. Right now, as it currently stands, we also did not get a notification in. I think we only have that in like a few hours, because yesterday we were streaming for what, 9 hours? It was crazy. It was absolutely a crazy situation. What do you think about the H-bar chart, please? Let's take a look in just a second. I see. Okay, so also something I tested earlier. During the previous stream, we tried some copyrighted songs, and it seems I can just, for the most part, just delete the songs. Let's see how that works out. All right. Now back to talking about coins like XRP. So I was actually trying to make a video a bit earlier, as I had some interesting discussion, I had some interesting thoughts to share. But what it basically comes down to is along the lines of, do I think this is actually a buy level or do I think this is a sell level? Whenever I look at the comment section, there's a lot of people saying, especially on Twitter, they're saying, no, we sell because it's at an all-time high. But my own personal thoughts are, relatively to where XRP could go to over an entire run, I could definitely argue we are actually not at the craziest of prices. I mean, from my own personal perspective, XRP $3.50, when it was already able to go to $3.50 back in 2018. Like, it's high, I know, sure. Relative to where it was a few months ago, relative to where it was 2 weeks ago, it's up a lot. But if you compare the Bitcoin pair, if you look at a lot of those coins on Bitcoin, I mean, we've not even seen an all-time high for ETH. ETH has also been performing really, really bad. I mean, now if you take a look at ETH in a 2018 run, it was what, 1,500, 1,400, something like that. And now it's still at 3,500. So relatively, it has performed way better than XRP. But there comes an interesting point. Can it not be where eventually, right, XRP does get a little bit of a redeemable rally going? It's a good question. And I personally basically am putting money now on the idea that yes, it will. It is going to redeem a little bit of the lost glory because they won the lawsuit. Perhaps they're going to be getting ETFs in, etc., etc., etc. And I believe that these right now are some pretty interesting lows to be fighting over. I mean, already it is down, what, like 7% or so from the high? Right now, 6%. Max was about almost 9%. We just bought at about 8% low from the, or 8% drop from the high. And the way I'm thinking about it is, again, from a risk-reward perspective, it does make sense to try our luck sometimes. Again, a lot of fun posts have been posted over the past 24 hours. A lot of them are quite inspiring. So 𝗏𝗏𝗏 said, life's really short. Take a chance, go long. I like that post a lot. Mostly from the idea that, you know, we are indeed in a market where you might as well try it for the biscuit, right? I mean, it's risky still, but it always will be. But then again, right now, maybe the odds are stacked in your favor rather than against you. So that was an interesting post. The other one was by Atlas. He said, always take profits. Let me quickly like that one. In the trenches, greed is your #1 enemy. If the number is big enough to take a screenshot, take some out. If the number is big enough for you to tell your friends, take some out. If the number is big enough to change your life, take it all out. Well, indeed, he has a good point where if you're always going to be waiting for a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, you might end up with a ton of regret, to which I sometimes have to say indeed. It might be wise to sometimes where you can take some out. I also got to quickly change my Twitter to dark mode. I forgot how you do that. It was always an easy way, but I think they made it a little bit more obscure to change the color of this. Accessibility, display. There we go. Let's go for lights out, I guess. Yeah, I've been seeing some of these. This is, man, there's some funny things here. Anyway, so Stuart also says, Stuart Out of Ripple, honored to be at the White House for the signing ceremony of the Genius Act into law. As promised, this is the most crypto-forward administration we've ever seen. And thus far, indeed, it seems to be the situation where the crypto market right now is in one of the most bullish spots we've ever been at, mostly from the perspective that we have literally never had an administration that is so progressive with trying to make crypto work. We've had Trump here just now today basically shield the crap out of it. And for some reason, people are thinking this might be bad. I don't know how you can see this as a bad thing. Also, I got to figure out how to make this chat a little bit more readable and a little bit less big. But again, over the next few days, I'll probably make sure it looks a bit better. Just, you know, we give it some time, right? It'll work out as time progresses. Because I also realize I got to probably make it a bit like the text is so small otherwise. I'll figure out a way to get this better, but give me some time there. Trial and error, my friends. Especially because, again, it's something new I'm trying out. But I thought, you know what? I need to find a way to get all that text out there transparently. Looks significantly better if everybody can join in and just take a look at it right there all the time. But right now, there's slightly too many messages, and it's not really readable to me. It should be going in like multiple lines, but I got to figure out a way to do that later on. Maybe this way. Oh, I think this might be some. I might be onto some here. There we go. There we go. It's not updating yet, but all right. Starting to get it, guys. Piece by piece. Piece by piece. Anyway, there's a few more fun posts. One from 𝗪𝗓𝗪 I thought everybody should also catch up to date with. Was an interesting little post right here. Let's see, how do I refresh this though? Do this. There. Oh, no, see, I don't want the background there. That's ugly. All right. All right, there we go. We tried it. We're trying it. You know, takes a little bit of time. BTC going in. Let's quickly read this post. I'll be monitoring everything. Don't worry about it. I think we got it locked in. Oh, my camera's stuck again. Of course. The standard. Place the text screen background solid. Yeah, but it's blue, and that's a bit ugly. But the problem is there's a lot of text here, huh? We'll find out a way later to do all that. Let's more so worry about all the crazy things going on right now. So first of all, 𝗪𝗓𝗪 said this: 95% of people will still lose money this bull run. Read this. Out of character, real talk, yes. This looks like the start of a bull. No. We haven't won. Most will still leave the losses or break even a few months from now. You shouldn't be euphoric. You shouldn't feel anything. If you want to walk away with big gains, you need to do so calmly, ice cold. Execute on your thesis with absolute peak clarity. And that basically means that with whatever is happening right now, you shouldn't be looking at it from the angle of, oh, wow, amazing. My gains are awesome. I'm excited. Even though it's nice to be that way, theoretically speaking, the best way to approach this is by being stone freaking cold, looking at it like a freaking brick. You know, not making a single inch of movement, just locked in. Why? If you think about it, almost every single time there's a good momentum. You know, markets moving, things are going nice. You end up messing it up by getting in your head too much, thinking, That's what I often say. Trading is very easy with smaller amounts, but the bigger it gets, the more it starts to get to your head. You know, the more it starts to get to your head that, but maybe it could, blah, blah, blah. And that's usually what messes people up. So when we're looking in this case at what Alex here said, indeed, if you are stone cold, you just have a thesis like, okay, I'll be buying this or that coin for that or that long. That's just in the back of your head. You got to do it, right? And you should not give up on your thesis. But most people do. Most people give up after a little while and they start rethinking of a new strategy. Let's say the idea at first was, oh, you know what? We're going for $11 in XRP. And I'm not going to be satisfied until it hits like 7. All of a sudden, people, they change their mind midway and they're like, oh, it's $3.50, but it could drop 10%, so I'm out. Like, where was the conviction then, right? And again, it's not necessarily a problem, but ultimately a little issue there is that it becomes a way harder journey all the way throughout. By the way, guys, if you're watching this stream right now, where are y'all watching from? Again, I don't have my chat the way I usually have them. I mean, I still am potentially able to just look at the YouTube one the way we sometimes do it, like this, like I saw. But still, it's not as beautiful as just no overlay, but perhaps a no overlay the way we have it right here just doesn't work that nicely in case without, I guess I can put one here also perhaps. Like that. I can also, I guess, get a chat here going. But I guess it just looks a bit nicer when you have like a clean background like the one here. Yeah, a chat like this is a little bit more feasible. Regardless, so to get back on that situation, let's quickly go read a little bit more into it. If you want to walk away with big gains, you need to calmly, ice cold execute on your thesis with absolute peak clarity. That means peak health, peak focus, no distractions. You will not get this shot ever again in your life. This is the one time you'll see true adoption of this tech cause violent, unregulated, disgusting gains. After this, it's adopted, it becomes like stocks. If you've bought or are buying, that's the easy part. You're going to get to pull the trigger and execute perfectly over the next few months, and most won't. They'll party, get drunk on gains, get cocky, think they're a genius, and then lose it all like they always do. This is crypto. Your gains come from another's losses. Theoretically speaking, it's a freaking arena with a 5% survival rate. You haven't won anything. The arena match has just started though. And you do have a likely confirmed shot. You're going to have to make that shot now. Good luck, as you're going to need it. I mean, that's an interesting way to view it. You know, he's a bit heavy with it, but the core thesis I don't think is that far from truth. Right? The whole idea that indeed it is a freaking PvP market, dog. Like, if you're not making it, somebody else will. I see where they're coming from. I see the core thesis right there. I'm not very much against it. Well, Panda had something to say. What did he say? He said, I have to say I'm really impressed with XRP and Brad Garlinghouse. I got into Bitcoin 12 years ago. Ripple was already around back then. It's amazing how they keep finding double IQ idiots to dump their centralized tokens on while actively trying to undermine the entire industry. The reason I found it funny is because I seriously still think there's a whole boatload of people who just like to hate on XRP for the sake of hating on it. Because there's so many coins out there that are really quite stupid that people don't hate on. But I think just because XRP was able to make it quite big, people like to keep saying, oh, it's da 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 da. But in reality, is it really that bad? Like, I mean, if you, for example, can really make a good schmeckles on it, you know, you can make some good gains on it. Does it really matter if essentially you're not a big fan? I mean, maybe if you are, in this case here, for Pena, if you're fully a maxi, you're fully along the lines of, no, I only want Bitcoin because Bitcoin, then it makes sense you hate every single thing. But just to specifically hate on XRP, I sometimes wonder why there's such targeted attacks on that specific coin. Oh, because the foundation is selling, as if the ETH foundation isn't selling? And again, if you are against every coin except for Bitcoin, this makes more sense. But if it's just XRP, I sometimes don't really get why that's the case. 𝗕𝗃𝗪 had an interesting thesis. Oh, I almost broke my chair. He said, I think this was and is as easy as ETH at 24 to 2,500. They'll tell you they're going to buy billions. We're talking about those companies that want to basically have crazy treasuries, become treasury companies. In this case here, ETF, treasuries, you name them. All these parts. Much like when the BTC ETF launched, TradFi is telling us what they want to do before they actually go ahead and do it. They're going to be raising significant amounts more money, and they're telling you right now before they even go ahead and do that. 𝗕𝗃𝗪 says, and by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, just my opinion. I'm a random guy on the internet. You just buy and do nothing. You don't have to be smart to make money right now, and you barely have to even be patient. You can just ride the waves of the treasury companies until that train comes to a stop. It's really, thus far, been that simple. And 𝗓𝗪𝗪 says, so buying ETH at these levels is still good? And then 𝗕𝗃𝗪 says back, let me ask you this. In the next 3 months, knowing what you know now, what is the downside and what is the upside? You want to know a little fun fact? How I look at every single one of my coins that I'm buying right now, I kind of have this in the back of my head. Like, okay, how much could it go up? Or let me say it differently. What is the upside? What is the downside? Now, in this case here, relatively, we've got a pretty good shot that this is going to be the market, right? This is going to be the time where things just absolutely pop off. There's relatively a pretty good chance that that does happen. Let me quickly also insert it in here. There we go. Get the chat also in there going. Should be something like that. Give it a second to load on in. And from almost any angle, isn't it worth the risk then? If the probability of failure is indeed quite small, and the probability of success is so freaking high, and again, the gains relatively, if we fail, if it turns out, maybe now, if it turns out we were wrong, at least we freaking tried, right? At least we had a nice little attempt going, and we tried our best of lucks. Isn't it worth it to go through that loop? I say the same thing for almost any one of my coins though. For XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, IOTA, name it, for any one of those coins. The way I view it, from risk reward perspective, it is worth it to just try our luck and go for it. Because in the worst case, everything basically goes. In the worst case, we go down a good chunk. What, maybe 20? 30%, something like that, in some of the worst case scenarios. But if all these major companies are going to be buying, if you look back now to when all those announcements came in of Michael Saylor saying, oh, they're going to be buying a ton of Bitcoin. I mean, there are billions upon billions of dollars right now. If Joe Lubin right now just announced, oh, we're going to be buying a ton more ETH, I'm going to raise more money for it. If it turns out that playbook still is not oversaturated, which I do not think it is. I do not think the whole playbook of the treasury companies is very much over it yet. I think there's still a lot of money to be made for us, the peasants, right? If that turns out to be the case, it could literally be as easy as just buying the assets they say they're going to buy before they actually buy it, and that way we win massively. It could literally, funnily enough, be as easy as that. True says, man, from where you were when you started this channel to now is crazy. I remember when we didn't even know what you look like. It's been a wild 5 years with you, man. It's a party every day now. Yeah, it is. I mean, right now, a lot of our coins are at all-time highs. Right now, I guess they could be slightly better. We could see some even crazier moves going, right? Which would be nice. But on the opposite side, I'm actually not dissatisfied that things are a bit slower right now. To some extent, I'm quite happy we now are slowly but surely moving our way up instead of just peaking straight away. Just because if we were to go peak, it also might mean that things just get over faster. Right now, it's a slow but sure grind upwards, slow but sure move, just dribbling back up slowly, piece by piece by piece. I think maybe this ultimately ends up being the better thing. You don't know though, right? It could also be so that if XRP were to now make a drastic move upwards, that it draws in so many normies, so many people that have never heard of crypto before, that it just ignites a rally which we couldn't have even fathomed. I mean, even back in the November time, all of a sudden, a lot of new people came on in that had never heard about crypto before. And from that angle, there is something to be said for it. That if we again just pump crazily, just keep going, we just keep pumping, we go, that ends up that's what opens the door to the $10 levels and all that stuff. Javier says, what do you think about open door technology? I have no idea what that is. Hey, where's everybody watching from right now? We don't have the bigger crowd like we usually do. I think if I were to stream in a few hours, we probably would, maybe a few minutes. Because again, you only get a few notifications a day, and we already just ended ourselves a massively long 5-hour stream or something like that. But I do wonder, where you guys are watching from, the few hundred people that we have right now. We've got about 400 people watching in total, which is not bad. Lemon says hello. Alex says that's right. I'm taking a look at the X and the YouTube chat. All right, so let's see. Yeah, it's hard to see, right? But at least we can see a little bit now, all the people and what they're saying. We got Cali, New Jersey, Death Valley, Alberta, Cali, Michigan, Oceanside, Detroit, Hawaii, Texas, Cali. John says, what date do you think the bull run is ending this cycle? Yeah, that is indeed a pretty good question. You know, in my own humble opinion, I think still around the January mark, but it could be slightly earlier. It just depends on how crazy things go and how fast things go. Man, we got Nevada, South Carolina, Nevada, I don't know what that is, Mexico City, South Carolina, Quebec, Canada, Central Florida, Washington, New York, Alberta, Australia. Man, it's been mostly America right now. I think all the Europeans have started to go sleep. Like yesterday, the market was going so crazy, so a lot of them decided to stay up. We've got literally nobody from Europe right now, it seems. Only Americans and a few Australians. Washington, D.C. Javier says, I'm 17 years old and I put a couple grand into XRP. I want to learn how to make money fast on crypto. Where can I learn? Those are the most dangerous words I've ever heard. I want to learn how to make money fast. That's also how you get wrecked fast. Ultimately, I think the mindset should be, get rich fast, make all your money as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. But it's also obviously how people get wrecked, right? It's a double-edged sword right there. By wanting everything fast, sometimes you end up with nothing. But I think it's a good mindset. It's a dangerous statement, though. Oh, Ramon says, tuurlijk niet. He's still here. Grass says, we need some more Russian house music to pump this up. We got Panama, all right. Ahmed says he thinks it's going to be until May 2026, the bull run, huh? Shamafi says, night shift, Netherlands, sleep is for the weak. Ramon says, we zijn er. Fenamai says, we have quite a few folks from the Carolinas. Yeah, we do. Hey, Scotland. True says, looks like we just broke out of a bull plug on the 4-hour. I mean, you could argue that. Maybe 1 hour looks a bit nicer. Oh, that's a thick boy. Huh. I mean, arguably so. Things are starting to move better. I mean, from any angle, the fact that we have not broken down below, let's call it 336, it actually quite interesting, right? Because we expected as the price was basically drumming back into support time and time and time again, every time it would get weaker. And I guess thus far, still, unless we take out this 350 mark, it is slowly but surely getting weaker, perhaps, depending, of course, on where we make our... Oh, camera's stuck. I was going to say, depending on where we actually make our new high right now. If we come back down right now, it seems indeed that the market's not in the most bullish of states. But sometimes it's also not so bad. Volume is too low. Volume for XRP or volume for the stream? How do you think the holidays are going to affect crypto? Well, I don't think anything negative of a holiday. By the way, little fun story. Just now I was chilling here, having the time of my life, just enjoying my room. And one of the funniest thing, all of a sudden I get a knock on the door. FBI. No, there's no FBI. I get a knock. I'm like, hey, who could that be? Because I ordered food, like, not too long before that. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're going to tell me something. Maybe something happened or something like that. So I open the door. And he hands me a condiment, some ketchup and some mayo. He's like, would that be all? I said, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you ordered ketchup and mayo. Would that be all? I'm like, what do you mean, is that all? No, that's not all. Where's the food? It's like, the food? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I didn't order ketchup and mayo. That you just gave that to me. Where's the food I ordered? It's like, oh, okay, well, we'll take a look at that. And then maybe 20 minutes later, maybe half an hour later, he came back with food. But the kind of funny situation to me that somewhere in there, either somebody ordered only ketchup and mayo and they gave that to me. Because, I mean, I did have fries and something like that, but it's just a funny encounter just now. Cleaning? No, it was the guy giving me food. It's just, there's specific people for it, right? And also, it's like, what? It was 11 something? I don't know. They don't really clean that much in the nighttime. Maybe they have like the, how do you call that again? How do you call the nighttime service where they just close your curtains and do the bed on the side? What's that called? Shut-eye service or something like that? I forgot the name. Huh? I forgot that name. I forget what it's called. Shut down. I don't remember. Ray says, I again forgot to hit the like button. It's so good. Turn down. All right, there we go. Chad remembers. Turn down service. Tucking? No, yeah. They do tucking, but there's a specific name for it. Turn down service. All right, guys. You got it. I forgot about it, all right? Turn down. There we go. Yeah. I also wonder until what time they would do that. If I requested at, 1 o'clock. Like, oh, I want my bed sheets, like, cornered right now. I mean, in every hotel, it's a little bit different as to what they do. Turn down for what? Man, I don't think I've ever had this much screen time in my life where I'm just constantly watching the charts day in, day out. But I do... Oh, wait a minute. Ethereum is actually doing pretty well. Wait a minute. Ethereum is starting to recover. We're almost back at 3,600. Our last buy was at what? I think exactly 3,500 or so. We bought in this candle right there. Then it broke through and I was kind of afraid. I'm thinking, did I just buy a falling knife, Because the market was going down pretty significantly, that candle. 2.5% in the hour. But we actually had a pretty good buy as the market already is 2.5% up from there. And our ETH position is doing pretty nice. I remember turn down service came into legs in the air and mate was frozen. Yeah. That can happen to the best of us, I guess. Mambo number 5. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is crypto you do as a job? How did you learn how to trade? What do you when you say job, what does that mean? I always find the word job sometimes kind of difficult. I mean, what I do to earn money? I mean, you're literally seeing us earn money right now. So does that define then a job? That's an interesting one. What is doing crypto as a job? What does that mean? Anyway, where do you learn how to trade? I think really just put yourself in a freaking room. Don't leave it for the next, 3 months. And you become pretty good at something. And it could be trading. Doesn't mean you'll be profitable, right, after just a few months. But it could mean you get a good grip of how it works. In this sense, all we're doing here in these streams here for the most part is just doing way broader swings. And again, it's medium amounts of money, very not risky, very broad swings. This is quite hard to mess up in my own humble opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm never guaranteeing you any results. I'm just saying, right? For example, in this case, with Ethereum, it wasn't even as simple. It was as simple as not even identifying any supports or resistances, just basically believe that indeed it's a pretty easy buy probably. And that the market will probably continue this for a while, specifically because of how things have been happening. Louis says an emotional control. The emotional control, I think, comes from just losing incredible amounts of money and not letting that make you have PTSD, but just learning from that and realizing that it all comes and goes. The more leverage, the quicker it can come, but also the quicker it can go. And if you want to win over the longer term, slow and steady wins the race most of the time. Not always, but it's one of the easier ways to win. Just slow and steady wins the race over longer amounts of time. Then again, it also depends a bit on what type of investor you are, though. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, some people, some of my friends even, they like the fast style. They like to open their trades, be out of it within a few hours, and hopefully just make a few million bucks every single snap. And it depends, right? A lot of people can't handle that stress. A lot of people do not like the potential downside that's involved. I guess that all depends a bit on how you are. Phil says turn down server. Yeah, I get it now. Turn down servers. How many cookies today? I don't got no cookies, dog. Yeah. From a nice flag on a 5 minutes for link, for chain link. For chain link, I'm not even having any normal positions open. I only have the bots. Which is still in an okay amount of profit. Nothing too crazy. Nothing to write your family home about, but, you know, it's okay. 12% or so in the past day. Not too bad. Orlando says, old meme coin's going to pump crazy this week. I mean, Dogecoin is already starting the rally, and it tends to be that Dogecoin is the leader of it all, right? That Dogecoin is the one to lead the charge. But it's not even above $0.25. We need to at least get a little bit more of a move going for Doge before I'm going to say that the old memes are back. It's nice what we're seeing right here, but I really wouldn't consider this to be a really crazy pump or anything like that. It's just that, like, quite nice. But I don't think it's that crazy at all. Matter of fact, I would even like to argue it is not crazy. Let's see. You refresh this. But then again, overall, memes have been in a pretty good spot. And I think actually maybe the main leader here has been Pengu. Hey, wait a minute. Over the past hour, they're all pumping though. 2.6% on Doge, 2.2% on 𝗕𝗓, 3% on 𝗕𝗓𝗄, 4% on BAC. Wait a minute. Okay. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Zomi says that Sunday 5 p.m. EU pump hits. I mean, as at this point, the crazier pump was what? What was yesterday? Today is officially Saturday, but let's just say the Thursday has been the crazy day, right? So I don't know if the day count too much there. Pump is doing pretty well here. You know, it's actually kind of funny. Pump is already up, what, 20% or so intraday from its bottom. That's actually pretty insane. In just a few hours, pump back up 20%. What else we got here? Tron is still just absolutely ripping, doing some crazy numbers. Pulling some really, really crazy numbers right there. We have XRP that found its resistance. I mean, the daily candle right now that we had is turning into resistance. Not too much to be said for that. We have XLM. Where did it go? Where's XLM in the chart? It's down significantly. I mean, really, it's not down that much. This is a 1 minute chart. If you look at it from the past couple of days, It's going on an astronomical rally, and right now it's going sideways. But this reminds me really a lot of what we saw earlier last year, or I should say earlier this year, or basically last year, where XRP also had a crazy rally from the depths of November. Slowed down for just a few days. Another crazy impulse. Slowed down for a few days. Another crazy impulse. Slowed down for a few weeks, right? All the way from, let's quickly check, from here to here. So roughly a month or so it slowed down. And all of a sudden, again, had a crazy last impulse, right? Again, the next 3 weeks, it went up roughly 60%. Javier says, what's the difference from buying a crypto and selling it the same day for a little profit than doing it on BTCC or and other platforms? I don't use BTCC, but what's the difference? I mean, you're just asking me now, what is the difference between buying a crypto and selling it on the same day than doing it on BTC or on other platforms? You're not asking me a question. What's the difference from buying crypto and selling it the same day for a little profit than doing it on BTC and other platforms? That's not a question, dude. I don't know what you're trying to say. Maybe if you rewrite it, I'll understand. Maybe I can help you out by answering. I don't know what you mean. How many of you guys think we're going to be green tomorrow? I mean, right now, like I said, a lot of what's happening here reminds me of that earlier November of last year, where a lot of people were doubting it because it went sideways for like a day or two, or even 5 days. But even fun fact, a few days ago, the 15th of July here, which is what, 4 days, 3-4 days ago, we went down for just a little bit. Some of you guys are saying my bot has stopped. Yeah, if your bot has stopped, all you got to do is, like you can see right here, right? You got to go head over and change the top of the price range by pressing more, edit price range, and then put the higher limit up. So the upper limit needs to go up here, as you can see. If your target was, for example, 218 to 250, whatever, right? I mean, right now 50 is higher, so it could be fine. But I put it at 396 just so it can keep trading a bit further. You can put this higher already if you want, but I think it's always nice to keep it very, very close to where you think the price is going to bound at, so you can make more money in the midst. So we can trade with more, but hey, it depends on your own personal preference right there. All right, let's get a little poll going. What do you guys think? Up or down from here over the next few days? Like, do we think indeed XRP, because it's already starting to go on a little bit of a redemption rally versus Bitcoin, this is the moment where things get wild, get swifty? I mean, we're not even back to the prices relative to what we saw earlier of last year, right? We still have about 20% worth of gains to go to beat the half-year high, what we saw at the start of the year. Like, in terms of dollars, doing good. In terms of Bitcoin, it's not even that good. Luminosity says where to go for the bots. I've got a link in the description of YouTube down below, and you can find it always, right? It's the Payonix ones, so these. You can find a link right there. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. I'm seeing down, up, sideways, up till Thursday. Metalhead says sideways until August 1st, and then dump. Alan says Tampa, Florida. We got CP saying damn it. Toby says sideways for a few days, Monday or Tuesday. History says sideways for until Sunday afternoon and evening. Okay, and let's ask it differently. What do you guys think will happen end of the year? Right? So let's just include January in that as well. So will we be at January once it hits, right? I personally think the all-time high will be hit somewhere between now and January of next year. So do you actually agree with that thesis, or are you an opposite thinker? You actually think that, no, we are not going to go to an all-time high. Matter of fact, this was the high. We're going down from here. we will go. Okay, let's see what some of the expectations were. Most of you guys are saying up, huh? And everybody, we got about 400 people on the YouTube side here today. I don't know how many we have over on X or Kick. I didn't take a proper look. If you're not done it yet, make sure you press that like button if you haven't done it yet. Because again, we streaming again. I didn't expect myself to turn on this computer for a while. I thought, you know what, let's go chill. Let's go have a little quiet evening. But all of a sudden I started thinking, you know what, ETH is picking itself back up, almost getting back to 3,600. XRP again at 345. Everything's looking pretty primed, right? All of a sudden, meme coins now started going up on the hourly. I think, again, we are close to no sleep season. I mean, right now, anybody can still sleep properly, right? I hope. If you can't, that's on you a little bit because, well, the market's not that crazy. Where do I also turn this into dark mode? Here we go. But soon enough, no sleep season, lads. No sleep season. And in preparation for that, right now we have to kind of enjoy every single time we can just quietly chat, have a good time. James says you didn't downgrade the room. Nope. We still got the suite. Still chilling, still doing good. They had space. Didn't have to upgrade to the presidential. We good. We are okay. Birdie says, all-time high between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's when I'm dumping 90% of the shit coins and 25% of my XRP. Fair. All-time high before Thanksgiving and Christmas. Dumping 90% of my shit coins. You know, some of my friends have already been saying you should actually not be holding any really massive shit coins right now too much. Because at the end of the but I'm against a lot of what other people think. Like right now, I think in the market, I still think the best course of action, which again is not finished advice, this is just my opinion, is wait a second. I'm just also seeing now. Did it post a live? Yeah, it did. Okay. Is to just ape into whatever works. I really think historically that turns out to be one of the best decisions over time. Just ape into whatever works, expecting it to work even better. To not focus too much and just ape. But not financial advice. It's just what historically turned out to be some of the best decisions ever. Right? And again, even now, if we turn our brain on too much, we might think, oh, this treasury wave is going to be over soon. If you're not sure what I mean with that, basically the biggest hype right now is all these companies doing something which is called, they're going to raise a ton of money to buy a certain crypto. And so a lot of people are basically speculating on the value that the company should have based on the amount of money that they might raise or that they might buy for a crypto. And then, you know, if you see that company has, for example, $1 million in a coin, but their stock relatively is trading as if they should have more or less, they might price a stock that way or an option or a bond that way. And that's quite an interesting thing. Toshi also says, adding to winners when given the opportunity. Bark says, all you need is 100 XRP to retire your bloodline. I thought that was kind of a funny post because ultimately, I think most people that are actually getting themselves any crypto, even $1 worth at all, theoretically speaking, possess all the skills they need to retire their freaking bloodline. You know, I mean, if you can't even buy $1 yet, then of course you don't necessarily have all it takes. Maybe you're missing the fact that you can't ever get yourself any crypto or you don't have internet, whatever. But in this case, if you got a couple $100 worth of crypto, what's stopping you from taking over the freaking world? It is indeed a good question. Like at that point, there is, theoretically speaking, nothing stopping you no more from an absolute takeover. We had the 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗀 letters say President Trump is seeking 15 to 20% minimum tariff on goods from the European Union. Maybe market reacted a bit to that earlier today. 𝗬𝗎𝗂𝑐's, the bond guy, said a couple interesting things. One, he said, don't get shaken out of your high conviction holds. Hold. And the second was, to be honest, an aggressive final shakeout before a crazy melt up in our magic internet coins fits the usual playbook. It's always the darkest before the dawn. Do not get shaken out. We have also CZ warning that crypto is volatile, but he also said that back in January. Then again, January, it was one of the highest points, right? So, I don't know about all that. But nice little video here. What's this? Let's take a look at this one.
And we think that'll be.
Why is it so quiet? Oh, it is just quiet.
We also anticipate launching Bitcoin and Ether sometime soon so that our clients have access to that. And we think that'll be an acceleration of our growth, because what we hear from many of our clients are that they have 98% of their wealth here at Schwab, and they might hold 1% or 2% at some digital native firm to hold their crypto. And they really want to bring it back to Schwab because they trust us. They want it to sit alongside their other assets. And so we think we'll see some real growth when we bring those to market. We also anticipate launching Bitcoin and Ether.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a growing thing. It's just going to probably keep going anyway. I love this post also. And he even said, people who held Bitcoin at 15K in 2022, diamond balls. Man, people are screaming. There's a wedding going on right now. And I don't know what some of these people are doing, but damn.
From this day on, America will follow the rule that every Bitcoin knows very well. Never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right?
I always like that type of statement. Who knows, right? I also sometimes look back at some of the posts I've made throughout time. Here's an interesting one from March. I never fear XRP price dips. I buy, stack, accumulate, hold, gain, whatever you want to call it. I will not sell my coins at these levels. I still believe Trump will push our backs to the freaking moon. And it turns out that was a pretty good decision, because back in March we were where? Well, let's take a little bit of a look. Back in March, the prices did come down pretty significantly. We went down to like 191. And back in April, we went down to 160 or so. Imagine I'd sold right there. I mean, relatively still pretty high to where we were in November. But I mean, right now, I'd be freaking smacking my keyboard like there's no tomorrow. And actually, it makes me think of, what's his name again? What's the guy's name that we covered? Let me find the name communities. What's the guy's name? I can't get over it. There's one guy. Okay, I'll find it. Give me 10 seconds. On my phone, it's so much easier to find. Dave Portnoy, there we go. Portnoy's post of earlier. Can I find it real quick? Let me see if I can find it easily here. I can. Right, this is the post.
I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I can't lie to my people. I have a confession. I sold XRP when it went up to 240 because the guy who told me to buy it told me that I should sell it because he thought Circle would compete with him, and he was unhappy with it. It's up 60% since I sold it, and I would have made millions, and I want to cry, and I don't own it anymore. Even though I was like the leader of the XRP army, I sold it. Good night.
I like that he says leader of the XRP army, but you know, an interesting point there becomes, at what point do people think they made enough gains? Because even this guy, even though he's a multi-millionaire, right? Even he himself is now regretting selling early. But then again, he probably made some very good gains in the midst. So I sometimes also wonder about that part of, well, let's say you get the run from $3 to $7 going, which is an instrument, like a monumental run, right? Amazing. Wow. But now afterwards, once you're at that level, and it goes from $7 to 15, are you going to be mostly mad you didn't catch the second wind? Or are you going to be mostly happy because, well, you got some crazy gains going from 3 to 7? I mean, you more than doubled it, but still, you could have had, I guess, a 4 or 5x. He must be trolling. Anybody check his wallet? I don't know, man. I don't feel as if I think he's a pretty quick seller. Dave Portnoy feels like the guy. I mean, how much crazy numbers he was doing with the memes before. He feels like the guy to quickly sell if somebody's like, something like that. And by the way, these people are screaming. Is there usually a lot of screaming at weddings? I mean, it's like midnight. It's just like a wedding celebration, I presume, right? Because I'm in a hotel, and they were at like somewhere here. Do people do full weddings at hotels, or is it just like the celebration part, or what? I mean, I was with them in the elevator. They all were wearing beautiful dresses. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the hotels I stay in, they have weddings. But I wonder which part of the wedding that is. Just the ceremony, or how did that work? I don't know. I'm not a big hotel wedding type of guy. I don't know. Lewis says, bless you, bro. I appreciate that, G. Good vibes says, someone told him to sell, so I bought. Alex says, he ain't stupid. I have a feeling he bought millions more at 240. You know, he's not stupid, but he is a boaster. So I do believe he would have just said, I'm actually buying millions back. But I think, you know, this is also an engagement thing. He probably knew people were going to heavily repost it if he started saying this. Because you can see it's got 3 million views. Fred says, unfortunately, the only conviction Dave has is Michigan football. You know, the more I'm starting to think about it, maybe indeed this is all just a marketing scheme. And he later on is going to say, I never sold it. I'm up $10 million. Yabba-dabba-dabba-doo. Trader sees nobody gives a crap. We all made mistakes. I sold my pizza and now I'm hungry. Hi, Dave. Have a nice evening. That was funny. Who's mad? Also, today was a pretty good day. When are the next signings going to be from Trump's side? Are we going to get them all by Monday? Or is it a bit further in? Because today we had the Genius Act, right? But we still have the Clarity Act that also needs to be signed. Sani is telling me to go link up with these, right? Go look for the people that are slobbering around the hotel, huh? At 1 a.m. You're a dirty dog, brother. Dave's a troll I wouldn't be supporting. Fair enough. I mean, ultimately, he sold his coins, right? I'm not sure how much crypto he holds. But it just made a very massive post saying he's selling, so. I don't know. I feel like that guy, he's an interesting one. Mr. Dave Portnoy. The views get him some dollars. No. Dave Portnoy is doing pretty well for himself. I don't think he cares about the view dollars. I mean, he is an interesting character in that sense, so I shouldn't necessarily say any of that. Jack Dorsey's block joins the S&P 500. What? Brian Armstrong says the Genius Act is the first federal crypto bill signed into law, with more on the way. Yep. Treasury Secretary Bessent says Genius Act is historic and will pave the way for...
Today marks a seminal moment for digital assets and global dollar dominance, with President Trump signing the Genius Act into law. This bill provides the fast-growing stablecoin market with the regulatory clarity it needs to grow into a trillion-dollar industry. Stablecoins represent a revolution in digital finance. The dollar now has an internet-native payment rail that is fast, frictionless, and free of middlemen. This groundbreaking technology will buttress the dollar status as a global reserve currency expand access to the dollar economy for billions across the globe, and lead to a surge in demand for U.S. Treasuries, which back stablecoins. The Genius Act is a win-win-win for everyone involved: stablecoin users, stablecoin issuers, and the U.S. Treasury Department. I want to thank President Trump for his visionary leadership in shepherding this bill into law, and Congress for rapidly advancing this critical legislation. By expanding financial freedom and reinforcing dollar dominance, stablecoins will play a critical role in making America great again.
Yup. Anyway, XRP is pumping, lads. We're doing good. We're back in the green. Finally making a move. Finally not going crazy anymore. I mean, our trade is still in the green regardless, right? So it's not about that, but it's about the fact that, for me, it really feels like we are still trading at an all-time high. But just because these tiny moves down, it makes you think, maybe we're gonna crash, But that's the funny thing that can get you hooked sometimes. The idea that, but what if it crashes? And that's also the main stopping force for a lot of people for them to make any money at all, right? This idea of, but what if? And if you're always that rational, which to some extent is really, really good, right? But if you're always that rational, it might in the end be really, really hard to get to any sort of proper balance in terms of trades or anything. If you're always rational thinking, but what if? You can never take any risk. A lot of people don't like investing because they always ask me, what if it ends up not working? What if the investments go wrong? And I always say, well, it could, but it's not never happened. It could theoretically, but then again, even if that's the case, shouldn't it be worth it to try? That's always my 2 cents on the situation. Like, is it not still, regardless of what you're thinking, is it not worth it to try? The only bot I still might need here is bonk! We're still not up tremendously though. I mean, for my bot here, we still need to go to 360 for me to get back into to break even here, or we need to wait it out. We've already made 1% though throughout the day, so we already made $400 just from the price going up and down on this, which is not bad at all on our bot, just in grid profits today. And that's the funny thing, really. If you let these things go, it can really be insane how much they're able to do over time. Just in the last 73 days, this is what it's been able to cash out. It really is crazy numbers, guys. I keep trying to put people on. Okay, we're making a break for it. Everybody, if you've not done it yet, make sure you press that like button on the stream. If we go again today to an all-time high, I am going to lose the absolute. This would be insane. Now, partially because that means we've calmed down a little bit, right? We went from 365 all the way back to like 335, something like that, have a nice 10% dump, and then continue on, way more sustainable, but also just gets me hyped to freak up, Gets me excited again, gets me going again. This would be insane for right now, but really, we are so close though. A lot of you guys think we've done much. In reality, we haven't done much at all. I mean, it was a good correction to have, but it's like, this is not hard. Wait, this is not the high. Wait a minute, it's a little bit further away. There's people in there. People in front of my door. I sometimes realize again, they must think I'm literally that have mental issues, because again, you gotta understand, oh, camera stuck. I'm in my hotel room, right? Screaming at the top of my lungs. Anybody walking by here you might think, oh, but they're thinking you're talking to somebody. No, they're not. They probably either think I'm talking to myself, because the way I'm going on a monologue here, I could either be on the phone, drilling somebody, possible. If you're talking to somebody like this in real life, it's odd. It's too monologue-y. These people probably think I'm just the gremlin wants this, the gremlin does not, you know, like that type of talk. Because I think it sounds way different if you're actually watching the screen, you're seeing everything yabba dabba dabba do, than if you're just hearing it. Anyway, I was going to say, it's not that big a move towards the high, really. Right? We're like, what, 5% away? This could happen in like a few minutes. I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it's not far away at all. Ethereum back almost at 3,600 on a pretty good spree here over the last, the last hour it's just been up and up and up. 2.5% up in the past 2 hours. Jim says it's not the door, it's the crystal. It could be, brother. All right. There's actually nobody in front of the door. I'm just losing my mind. This is a possibility. Mrs. XRP is back. Sounds like my teenage son at 2 a.m. yelling at the screen in his room. Now I'm thinking about it. Indeed, you guys are right. It could also be gamers. But isn't that weird? Somebody taking his whole gaming setup into his hotel. Then again, you know what? Even though I've been in hotel rooms for so much of my life now, to be honest, I don't even know what most people do in here. And one more thing I figured out. From staying at the most expensive spots around the world, one thing I can tell you now is it's almost never worth it. Like really, realistically speaking, if we're talking about suites like this, right? It's chill because I have a living room, you know, and a proper bedroom and stuff, and because it's work kind of. If you think about it from the angle of like I'm you know, I have two separate spots right now just so I can properly sleep over there and have like an office sort of almost, right? Well, from that angle, it might be kind of cool. It might be kind of nice to be in a good spot where the room service is good, all that I care about. If I was going on a normal vacation, I don't understand why people would spend $1,400 a night on a hotel room, $700 a night on a hotel room, when in reality, it's not that good. Even low effort ones, you know, from 5-star hotels, most of the time are kind of whack, unless you're going for specific services. But I never wake up for breakfast. I always have it included. I've not gone in a long time. I went 2 days ago by accident once, but normally I never go. So it's always a waste. Bam. Even though it's free. Always a waste. So there we go already. Then, I almost never use the freaking pool. I have a pool in my house always. I never use it, right? So here in a hotel, I'm never almost... I can't remember the last time I swam at a hotel. Okay, sauna and thing are good, but even some crazy expensive hotels don't have it. So, So what else? I guess room service and stuff is nice, but sometimes, even in some spots, it just ends at like 10. Have you ever forgotten what hotel you're in? No. How can I forget what hotel I'm in, dog? No. Have you ever forgotten where you live? No, I have not forgotten that. You need to get an RV. I'm not going in a random-ass RV in a random-ass country, all right? You couldn't pay me enough to go on a random RV trip in the middle of freaking Ecuador, all right? Or Venezuela. You go right on ahead, but I'm going to stay in the hotel. You need to get yourself an RV. I ain't getting myself no RV. I have houses. It's not like I don't have a place to stay. I just like to travel. I'm not staying in no freaking RV, dude. I mean, actually, RV could be pretty funny in, like, the U.S. on a little road trip or something. Maybe, like, Europe. Back to 346. Coming back down a little bit. How's ETH doing? ETH still blasting. Almost 3,600. Pepe says, the top is 6 for XRP. You know, I thought you would be way less positive, but $6 in XRP is still not bad. Nick says, why would it dump? I mean, there's a lot of good reasons why it could dump. Only 3 posts down, somebody posted a video of XRP with a 6 trillion market cap claim per an insider at a bank. Let me tell you one very important thing, brother. And moving up. I'm going to tell you some, and this you need to really listen to carefully, all right? Again, we'll read the statement one more time. He said, on an X post, right, or X3 post down, This guy posted a video of XRP with a 6 trillion market cap claim because an insider of a bank told that. Now, who's going to tell him, right? First of all, an insider at a bank. If you repeat that a few times on your own, you realize that means nothing. All right? Freaking people with a $3,000 a month salary, $2,000 a month salary work at a bank. You have crazy high ups, you have crazy low ups. What the frick does insider of a bank tell us? There's millions of people working at banks. That's not a special thing. You could be a cleaner working at a bank. Are you not insider of a bank? So that's one. Second of all, if this person were to be able to predict that, he wouldn't tell you. Because if it goes to $6 trillion and he knew that, he would probably not tell you if this is confirmed because he'd be a billionaire. He's not going to take time out of his way to go tell you that unless you're his bestest of bestest friends. But I claim you're not because you're telling all of us. And you wouldn't be here because if you trusted the guy, right? Which again, he wouldn't tell it all over the internet because if this is insider info, why not keep it to yourself? Why share it with the world if this is confirmed? If it's a speculation, that's cool and all. But then again, that kind of ignores his earlier stated status of bank insider. So again, it's just a random person on the internet saying a random price, which again is pretty useless to us. You guys are saying I saw that video too. What are you watching? XRP, Pepe is up 10,000% since 2024. XRP is up 400%. Really? Is Pepe up 10,000%? Really? Is Pepe up that much? I don't know about that one, bruh. I don't know, man. It's 5 zeros over there right now. 4 zeros. I don't know. $10,000%. I mean, it doesn't look like it. But whatever. BTC back above 118. Ethereum really inching in towards that 3,600. You know, actually, I wonder now, can we not make a good strategy out of just trying to take Ethereum to 3,600 every single time? Kim says, run, I'm from Australia as well, Don. Sell for another 5 years when you start buying. Where are you guys are watching from right now? We got a few Australians. I wonder again, is it only US or did it change as we've now been going for like an hour or something? No European. We got like 3 Europeans in here before, I think. Dusty, off topic, what is your stance on VET? No, it's not off topic. I think it's very much on topic. Yeah, I thought about opening a VeChain bot today, but I told y'all a while back that VeChain is not really in my top list of coins no more. If there's a lot of hype, if VeChain is doing really, really well, I might again just buy it for the momentum, like, oh, you know what, to go for it. But it's not necessarily one of the top coins of this season, as again, nobody's talking about it really. And VeChain is super, super good for always catching all the lights. But if it's not, and we'll have to see over the next few weeks, then I don't know. It's not going to be in my top adding list. Azika says Australia. We got Western Australia. We got Austin. We got Philippines. We got Alaska, Mexico, USA, Cambodia. Your mom. Nice. North Carolina, Arizona, Maryland. US still here. History bear. Australia, Cambodia, Michigan, Singapore. Philippines. I'm from the Philippines, sir. California. Dreaming. America, Alabama. Yeah, buddy. From Alabama. I don't know what the accent sounds like, to be honest with you. I imagine, yeah, from Alabama. But maybe that's like a completely different state somewhere in the south. Kim Jong, my average buy price $432. All right, you're joking? Oh, that's Australian dollars, yeah? Oosthuizen. It's 1:50 p.m. in Australia. What? Is that possible? Is there that much of a time zone difference? No, right? I don't think so. Maybe the east of Australia is that far. What time is it in Australia, lads? Dutch guy from Romania. We got Fort Worth, Texas. Do you want in the fridge? Bro, CP, you are you letting a bot loose on this, or what is wrong? Like, are you just telling a story? Do you want people to listen? You've been here all day, but like, I don't know if you're telling us a story, if I should be reading it, if I should be ignoring everything, if there's something wrong, if this is like your call for help, if your call for backup, or if you're just, you know, I really don't know, dog. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You can see it in the chat as well. I thought at first he's just like chilling, telling us a story, but I guess he's not. I mean, it's pretty funny. Goedemorgen, zei Ricardo. At 5:54. Chuk says, sorry. 11:53 in West Australia, 1:50 in East I guess in Melbourne. Good morning, Dusty. All right, guys, for me, I haven't slept yet. So, it's now good morning, guys. It's good night. We had ourselves a nice little rally that got cut short. But it's okay. You know, we've got ourselves a little bit of time. I do actually wonder what will be the catalyst to let XRP break their all-time high on the euro. Because I don't believe it hit it on the euro yet. But yeah, I mean, the dollar's been going so weak. It is actually an interesting thing to think about wholly, in the sense that, indeed, everything moves so differently in dollar terms nowadays than in euro terms. Is that something worth considering? Is there some sort of opportunity in that sometimes? That is actually a pretty interesting question. At Altus says, we are at a historic turning point. We closed above our all-time high. That is amazing. Yeah, it is. I mean, I've got to give it to you. That is a pretty amazing thing. It's a pretty amazing feat. What else do I got here today? Do I have anything else that's pretty funny? Trump just declared America will uphold the principle, never part with your Bitcoin. That was a pretty funny thing. GM, buy this, not this. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say in these streams is financial advice. I'm just here to have a good time. Go, go, Power Rangers! Yo! Dusty, how do you use the XRP bot? I've explained this 1,001 times, dog. It's so simple. I don't get what the questions sometimes are about. Like, it all kind of speaks for itself, right? But you can just watch in the description. There's always a tutorial of mine that you can check out to maybe get some more info on it. Right now, we're just crying a little bit that our bags are moving down a little bit more. How's ETH doing? ETH is holding up significantly better. You know, every single time I looked at this coin, it's just not moved. It's just been 34 upper echelons, 36, 34, 36. And I keep thinking, isn't it maybe like the easiest pull ever to just go all full port ETH? Even though ETH has been such a garbage performing coin for so long. We just try our luck again, and hopefully this time around, it just keeps bouncing. Or, like I said, this time around, it's just it's where it breaks out. Could be funny. Hey, let's do another question right here. How many of y'all are still buying, and who's actually thinking of selling here? I might have asked that earlier. I'm not so sure. But a lot of y'all are saying it's going to go sideways, it's going to sideways. When I asked, is it going to go up or down? Let's ask it differently. Any of y'all still think it's worth buying at these ranges, or is it too late? Is Shiba Inu considered ETH? No. Why would Shiba Inu be considered ETH? Brian says, could XRP drop below 3? I mean, nothing is stopping it. It's like a 10% move, right? 15%, 50%, let's call it move. Nothing is stopping it from doing that. It could. Especially if Bitcoin breaks down a little bit. Chuk says, Dusty, you already tackled this, but why do people say $3.80 is the all-time high? Because theoretically speaking, with some exchange rates, it hit 384 or 386, something like that, on Korean exchanges. But we don't really count that. Don't worry about all that. It's a longer story in that sense. Basically, how we calculate price is based on all exchanges around the world, right? For example, the CMC price, the aggregator price. But what if the exchange rate is a bit off, or something strange is happening right there, or the premium is too high on some place? How much do you count that? And there was a long discussion about that. Turns out nobody really even paid $3.84 or whatever for an XRP. Nobody ever sold it at that price. It's just a calculation thing. So the CTO, David Schwartz, right, came in to state that it's not really the all-time high. It's more like 340 something, 350 something. Somebody says, I almost sold 1,000 XRP last night, but my wife talked me out of it. She's now a believer. Brother, I don't want to say what you should be doing right now, but I mean, right now it's below the price you could have sold at. So somebody stopped you from making a good decision, all right? I don't want to tell you what to do, but, you know, you let somebody talk you out of your finances, and I mean, you should maybe go to the gym to get rid of all that pressure. That's what I mean, you know? Or you just absolutely... At the end of the day, it was your own fault, though. If you let yourself get talked out of selling a proper high, yeah, this is on you, my guy. That is completely on you. Is Payonics available in the US? I don't know. I use a VPN. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I use any platform from any country. But I always use a VPN for anything. Tao says we're going higher, broski. I mean, ETH is doing okay, but for the most part, XRP right now is not looking the most joyous it's ever looked like. Tao says we're going higher, broski. Mr. Crypto says GM. Bro, for you it's early in the morning, no? Jason says happy wife, happy life. Fair enough, fair enough. Vincent says, is Payonics available in the US? Again, I do not. You know, like I always say, if you're trading, especially in the US and all those places, I always use a VPN because many things I do not think are available. But again, this is not advice. This is all up to you to find out. You can make your own damn choices. Ryan says, if you research and do your own due diligence, you will never sell. Except for maybe some lifestyle chips, it'll be 3 to 4 digits, and even then. You know, it all depends on yourself. Some people will sell really quickly and just buy a house, 3 cars, have some dollars in the bank to put into a safe fund, and they're done. They don't care about crypto's future. They don't care about how much it's going to appreciate. They don't care about the dollar maybe getting screwed. They just care about having these items. To which you'll say, yeah, go for it. And some other people will literally never sell because they don't need to and because they care about their investments going up, their portfolio going up, and they don't necessarily care about the cash flow in dollar terms. I mean, especially if you're in a place like I am where you can actually always use your crypto to transact with, I never have to really go to fiat. And in that sense, I'm also considering stable coins normally under fiat, in this conversation not. Has XRP replaced Swift? No. I don't know why XRP would have replaced Swift or where that came from just now. Ryan says, keep the goose that lays golden eggs. Yeah, I like that thinking process. Well, and a good counter actually would also be, if you think about it, right? If you right now sell, what are you going to do with it? If you do not have a concrete plan, then what was the concept of selling worth? Like, why would you sell it then? Well, because I want to cash and I want to lock it in. Yeah, but if eventually you know that over a longer period of time, your dollars will be worth less than whatever you sold it for. So let's say you have 1,000 XRP. You sell it right now for $3,500. You don't do anything with this money. It just sits around. Now you take that and put it into a savings account. It's going to get 3% a year now. You're like, yeah, but now I cashed it out. 3 years further, you've got 10% extra on your money now. Well, XRP, right, in the time span has gone down a little bit, so you could have perhaps been better off swinging it, but let's say you wouldn't have done that. Now, 3 years later, all of a sudden, XRP's gone from $350 to $15. And now, instead of having your 10% up on your $3,500, you had now, let's say, $4K, right? Oh, I had to save his account. Amazing. Wow, wow, wow. Way less, but you get the idea, right? Yeah. Way less, but let's just say, wow, you have 4K now. Whereas on the opposite side, you could have 15. Oh, but I cashed it out. It was safe because what if it goes to zero? If you really think it's going to zero, you might as well sell everything just that day and never look back and don't worry about it because at that point you just didn't believe in it. But most people, they say, I believe in it, but what if it comes? And I always say, I really believe in all this stuff from the perspective that I think it will keep continuing to go up for at least the foreseeable future, like at least the next 10 years. So if I'm selling, it is only because I have a better plan with those dollars, or I'm just selling for in case it does actually goes to zero. And I'm just keeping that it's a probability, right? It's a possibility in the back of your head, or because you want to buy stuff, or you want to reinvest in different things, have, a diversified portfolio, all that. It's all fair. The only thing I don't necessarily think is that smart, which again, I'm not your financial advisor, this is just my own opinion, I'm never making guarantees for anything, is selling to go to dollars and then not doing anything with those dollars. I do have much in cash, but the whole idea there is, I have it in cash just so I can buy the dip. I have it in cash just so I can buy things that generate more money. It's not so I cash it out to have dollars, because there's no real point in having dollars. If your whole concept is, I'm selling wherever I can to get more schmeckles to buy the, yeah, that I get. That actually does make significant sense, Dude, do you think XRP is going to 420? I don't know. What people have this obsession with asking me where I think the prices will go. Like, if you do not think that these prices are possible yourself, why even enter at all? Like, $4 is not that high a price. Really, when you start breaking it down, $4 is like a 20% move from here. If you even have to ask me if I think that's going to happen, there's something very, very wrong. Because any coin, even the dumbest of coins, can go up 20% in a day just based off of nothing. Even just based off of nothing, off of thin, hot air. Just because it wanted to do that. So by that logic then, of course something I've got all this money into I think can go up 20%. My thoughts, right? Again, I'm not guaranteeing you it's going to happen. I'm just saying, it's not that strange that I didn't think that, right? Anyway, we had a $5 donation coming in from Altus Plateau. He said, briefly explain currency arbitrage opportunities. No, it's not. This is the thing. If theoretically speaking, there's a few options, but let's just say the most common one actually has to do with just Forex. And so now we're going to mix Forex trading with cryptocurrency trading. Let's not get into that at all. All right, this is already some of my friends, for example, in African countries, what they actually do is they play on their quote unquote black currency. So the fact that, for example, you can have a better exchange rate outside, so you can actually make money on the P2P because of the exchange rate within the country, all that. But that's very specific. If we're talking about making opportunities within $1 and the euro, again, this could be nice if you're actually a person holding both of these. But essentially, if you want to get into the whole arbitrage there with euro and dollar, or even more than that, I don't know, friend. I think if you if you're asking the question, it's not even worth getting into it, if you get my drift. Like, if you really want to try that stuff, go read for the next couple of weeks and come back to me with all you've found, you know? But it's not something you can easily do off of something like this, off of one little answer. Some things are more difficult than others, and this is a freaking hefty hill to get on, dog. People says they just want you to read stuff. Alta says, jump on the bed, Dusty. Brother, this is a couch. I've also seen a lot of people state that over the past day or so. Like, please, go on the bed, have fun. It is literally as couchy as a couch can be. And even then, why do y'all want me on the couch so bad? It's a bit of a strange request, you know? When you really start breaking it down, it's a bit of a strange question to ask, my brother. Alto says, I was told to stake with Goldman Sachs or BlackRock. Stake what? Rick says he's going to hear those voices out of the front door soon. I love his shows. Are you guys trying to say that I hear voices in my head, that these things are not real? I've shown you the door. If I could, I'd walk there right now and show you that sometimes people walk by. It's you can see it's not far. It's just a few steps of walking away, right? And again, I cannot zoom in on this, but there's a little teeny tiny gap, I think, maybe, right there. I can hear the people. I don't know who by the way, whoever designed hotels, I want to say something really, really negative right now to some of y'all, right? I have a freaking fist for you up your face for who designed to ever have gaps in hotel room floors. The person who designed that deserves something. Oh, moving. We're moving up slowly but surely. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race, huh? Lewis says, I don't think I'd like to be at a hotel. I'd like to blast my music. Okay, I wouldn't want you as my neighbor, dog. Alto says, jumping on the bed reminded me when Tom Cruise was jumping on Oprah Winfrey's couch. Mrs. says, had to go outside and watch the rocket launch from Vandenberg. It was beautiful. Nice. Ray says, oh, Doge is up 8%. What? Is it up 8%? Really? Is it still moving? Yo, Ethereum Classic is up 8.6% throughout the hour as well. What is this? I mean, throughout the week, what's the best gainer? Is it XLM still? It's Curve. Damn, and the worst is Pump Fund. Quant is one of the worst too. Hyperliquid is sucking ass right now. But at the end, most coins are up. Today, best is still Ethereum Classic. And second is Dogecoin. Wait, Dogecoin is back above 25. It's pumping. Dogecoin is back in the green, baby. We take those. Which is still at a loss. So Ava is doing shitty. Algorand is doing crappy. Hyperliquid is taking his little time. But Hyperliquid is okay. I'm fine with holding that for a long time. How is Doge? Where's my Doge at? Oh, we already are up 110% on our Doge position. That is nice. That is nice. I'm more excited for this XRP position, though, because the first one I'm doing in XRP. This is not dollars. This is in XRP. So we put 5K XRP in. It's up 33 XRP. I wonder if this is going to be my most interesting bot yet, because all of them are in dollar terms, right? All I cared about was dollars. Right now, that's going to change. Banapples and cookies. Yeah, you were here. How many of you guys were here yesterday as well? Also, by the way, I still use the old chat as well. Like, I'm starting to get used to this overlay, but I need to go find a different overlay for myself because this is not it. This is the OG one, and I miss it already. By the way, for all the members, none of y'all are members, I see today. Okay, so I can't show you. But otherwise, I have new emojis I just made the last few hours. Like, I put a lot of effort into making new ones. I have, like, my own here, my own freaking face as well. So if you are a member, at least you'll find them right there. I thought maybe it's actually cool if I have some things that people can use. But I think only members can use them. But regardless, just letting you know it's a thing now, for if you are. Because there's a good couple tens of them. Yeah. You see, this is also nice about streaming every day now, that you remember a lot of the names, you know? They're starting to become locals. Louis says it's delayed. Yeah, all of them. All the chats are delayed. Are the bots connected to Pionex all leverage? You don't have to use leverage. I just always use leverage. But you don't have to. And by the way, if you've not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on the stream. And we're streaming every day on this channel. If you're not yet subscribed, you might want to press that button. Ray says, what's going on? XRP going down, but Doge going up? Yeah, sometimes you have that in markets, that some coin is going better than another, brother. This is just how the market sometimes goes. Is there a Bybit? No? Okay, let's go for buy. Oh, this is USD. I don't like USD pair. Here we go. Yeah, Doge is sending it. Oh. Whoa. This is the weekly. You see, this is what's gonna make a lot of people FOMO right here. Dogecoin is one of those coins that just makes a lot of people just do some stupid ass things.